So, hello, welcome back to another episode of the Self-Development with Tactics podcast, and today we once again gonna go through 4,000 Weeks by somebody I do not remember, but 4,000 Weeks by Oliver Burkemann. This is what the book was called. Not that I remembered right now, no, I've just looked it up. But I'm gonna show you as well in a very tiny moment. In a very, very, very tiny moment. There we go. Should be fine. You should be able to read everything. I guess that we have stopped around here. Let's, I guess, embrace the fact that you're foregoing certain pleasures or neglecting certain obligations. Philosophers who have pondered the subject of human finitude have been reluctant to translate their observations into practical advice because that smacks of self-help. Neglect the right things. Whatever this may mean, because I always appreciate doing what is right. I always tell everyone to do what is right. I think doing what is right is smart. I really do think that. I think that it may be one of the best things you can actually be doing. Doing the right thing, doing what is right, doing what maybe actually may seem right to you at this time, because who knows what really is right. Of course, some things for sure are right because this is what your human brain tells you. But anyway, make a hard upper limit on the number of things that you allow yourself to work on at any given time, no more than 3 items. All other incoming demands on your time must wait until one of the 3 items has been completed or abandoned. If I nominated write book or move house as one of my 3 tasks in progress, I would clog up the system for months, so I was naturally motivated to figure out the next achievable step in each case instead. Learn how to start saying no to things you don't want to do. I think the combination of 1 and 2, so the first one and the second thing, advice and whatever you may call it, is quite important. There is a limit to the things you can do simultaneously. For some people, it is actually way higher than 3. I like doing more things than 3, but at some point, I do also notice that it is just too much for me. Either because I am completely destroyed. I can't even nearly feel myself anymore because I'm having so much work to do. But on the other hand, of course, the quality is gonna suck when I've encountered the 4th time or the 4th thing that I just want to work on, or whatever it may be. And at some point you have to have a limit. At some point there is just you can't just do more, because it would lead to forgetting about some other things. It would lead to you neglecting other things that are actually very important. And so having a list of importance really makes sense, because some things are just important and some things aren't. Period. And on the other hand, saying no to certain things that you just don't want to do makes sense, because you can, sometimes, and when you can say no to something, and when you can actually decide what to do and what not to do, why should you be doing things that you actually do not want to do? There is no sensical reason why you should be doing that. Any attempt to bring our ideas into concrete reality must inevitably fall short of our dreams. He was indecisive in love and in much else, because he yearns to live more than one life. Dating, you should definitely settle. You will settle. To refuse to settle, to spend a decade restlessly scoring online dating networks for the perfect person is also a case of settling, because you're opting to use up a decade of your limited time in a different sort of less than ideal situation. Well, yeah, it's all it is always a decision. I think that it is indeed something that he was writing as well about in the book, that whatever option you may take, you are taking an option. It is not like, okay, you just don't choose one option over the other. No, we are always doing something. And sometimes it is just, or we're just always having decisions. We're always making decisions. And sometimes it is just a decision not to do something or not to do X. Okay, I'm not gonna tidy up my room. This is a decision. Or I'm not gonna tidy up my room. This is also a decision. But most often, well, actually always, we are making decisions. Settle in a way that makes it harder to back out, such as moving in together or getting married or having a child. When people finally do choose in a relatively irreversible way, they're usually much happier as a result. Careers, if you flit between them all, you'll succeed in none of them. Yeah, to some degree it does make sense to focus on one bit and focus on one thing, because of course you're going to have more time, therefore just, probably more ability and more opportunities to be good in this certain field. On the other hand, it's just cool to switch things from time to time, especially when you notice, okay, this is not really something that I want to do. This is not really something that makes me daily happy, because of course work is a really big part of life. Work, 8 hours a day, it is just quite a lot. It's not everything, it's not the whole day, it's not even half the day, but it is something. It is a significant portion of your day and of your life, and it should just really be something that you enjoy. So, yeah. The future is more appealing than the present because you get to indulge in all your hopes for it, even if they contradict each other. That's really quite the case, and most often we're also way more, what is the word? We think that the future is way better than, we are way more optimistic about the future than we are in the present. We always think, okay, I must start doing X, I must start doing Y, I'm just going to go back to school and do some shit and do another degree and get another degree and whatever it may be. But this is just this positivity and the optimism that we're having towards the future for whatever reason. We're just having that. It would actually be nice to have that in the present as well. As far as I know, by the way, you may have to Google that once again, but I think there was something about us just being a bit more optimistic about the future than we are about, the present, and especially also about the past. The past is shitty, we hate the past, everyone hates the past. Well, just joking. There is no possibility of a romantic relationship being truly fulfilling unless you are willing to settle for that specific relationship with all its imperfections, which means spurning the seductive lure of an infinite number of superior imaginary alternatives. Your partner is inevitably finite, and thus deeply disappointing by comparison with the world of your fantasy, where the limiting rules of reality don't apply. Yeah. This is something that one needs to see and needs to notice. There are many people that are beautiful, they look good, they seem to be quote-unquote perfect from the outside. But of course, once you meet these people, you know them better. And probably you're going to notice that, okay, you can't talk to this person for a long time, because there's also a finite amount of topics you can talk about with this person. And with some people, it is way less, and with some people, it is way more. And in the real end, it's definitely not only about looks. In the real end, it is about you having to spend time with this person. And of course, and I do understand that, it makes sense to really think about the person that you're willing to settle with. Because you are going to spend a lot of time with this person. It's the same thing as with work. Having shitty work sucks. Having a shitty partner sucks as well. It really fucking does. But the grass isn't always greener. Sometimes it really is. And when there are some clear red flags, one should really also take other opportunities. I'm not talking about cheating, but I'm talking about abandoning a certain relationship that is indeed, and I hate that word toxic, because apparently everything is toxic these days. But no, if there are some clear things like violence and share, this is definitely a sign that this is not a good relationship to be in, and one should really indeed abandon it. But then also one needs to know and needs to see that we like to present ourselves in a very good way sometimes, in terms of looks, but also in terms of our character and how we are and what we do. And there are always going to be imperfections. Sometimes you're going to notice and see certain imperfections you didn't even know exist. Because this wasn't a part of your past relationship. This wasn't a part of things that you've seen before. Because we don't see everything. We don't know everything. Maybe it's because of the family. Maybe it's because of their education. There are a trillion different things that cannot be ideal. Cannot be ideal. Yeah, makes sense. On the other hand, you may actually also just search for a very long time. And you may just actually also make a person out of yourself that is very likable and is just a good partner. And a lot of people want to have this person. Also really truly makes sense. But just, there is always imperfection. I am also never going to be perfect. And you are also never going to be perfect as well. There is always going to be imperfection, whether it is physically or mentally or characterly and whatever it may be. But there is always going to be imperfection. Period. And with that being said, I'm going to end the episode here. See you next time. Bye-bye.